Chief.
Helping that Viego out will be the key here. Certainly a lot of damage to pair with him and get those reset potentials. But can the Direwolves turn it around? It was a very miserable game one for them, right? Nothing really went their way. And KNG were able to take control, able to really play around those objectives and bait Direwolves into unfavorable fights. But River doesn't seem fazed by that whatsoever. As we can see, he's having a little bit of fun with it.
He's vibing. He is absolutely vibing. I tell you what, that skin, probably my favorite.
Yeah. Definitely is like a bit of a unique take. You go from the Spirit Guard, the real high-end premium luxury skin, to that one that River has on right there. Just a completely different take, but also, you know, a bit more fun. A bit more fun as we can see towards the top lane. A lot of fun will be having had for Wudon, who's gone for the Ignite on this Riven here. So really saying that, okay, I am fully indexed into killing you. Yes, I know that you're playing Udi. I understand that it's obviously a hard task, but I have the Ignite. So if you misstep, you absolutely will be falling down.
So as a bit of a Riven enjoyer yourself, how are you expecting Wudon to try and play this one? Would you expect him to be fairly lane aggressive, or much more kin to, you know, try and get a bit of a stable advantage through CS and trading so that he can group up and be a real menace once these skirmishes break out?
Look, it's a hard lane because he's gone for the Ignite. I would imagine he's wanting to play hyper aggressive, right? You can't... One thing you can't do in this lane is let sustain come into the thick of it, because River, on this Udia with that W, will just be having the easier lane, right? Riven doesn't have any inbuilt sustain into her kit, so does need to rely on all-inning. There's Q's coming up here. River has no Ghost. And you can see already wave control going over to Direwolf, sorry. River, this double R that's available for him, gonna mean he's gonna have the push, and that's the all-important factor in this lane, right? If you are this Udia and you allow Riven to get level 2 first, that is a potential window for her to all-in you, but that won't be the case. And Wudon, he's already used his pot here in a pretty bad spot at level 2.
Certainly is. You can see as soon as the Phoenix Flames come on down, you're just taking all this damage, which you're not going to find much success by using your shield. It's going to be popped in a heartbeat there. And in terms of receiving any sort of jungle attention, that's going to be a world of pain to wait for. And they're going to be certainly racing as quickly as they can to get that all-important level 6. I'm sure we're going to find ourselves panning to top lane a fair bit, despite the volatility that could certainly be found in mid lane as well. I mentioned bot lane. It's almost like we've gone for a complete flip of the usual stereotypes, right? Bot lane's probably going to be the most passive of them all.
Yeah, absolutely will be, right? I imagine neither of these laners are wanting to actually get something going. They're more playing around their jungles and more playing around these solo lanes, really, because I think that as Wudon's found River,
he's going for the all-in. The Ignite's ticking, and he just walks away. He knows you've got the push, you've got the damage, but you don't have the all-in potential. And finally, it feels like we've actually seen an Ignite solo laner actually pay off before level 6.
Oh, we'll have to see how that played out though, Skimmy, because River had the wave in such a good position. He had control, had the HP advantage as well, and Wudon has just found his angle. But that is really how this matchup can start to swing, right? Is this Riven finding those angles where perhaps River doesn't have that Empower available. Perhaps he's simply fighting a Riven, and a Riven with Conqueror and Ignite stacked up in that early game is a very scary prospect.
All the damage
so
taken.
It will be a little bit of a CS lead for River, but the kill certainly swinging the gold in favour.
And to that same point as well, I'm curious to see what kind of build Wudon decides to go for. We've certainly seen a few builds where it's revolved around like the Sundered Sky and the Eclipse. I saw one the other day from, I believe it was one of the ERLs, and actually went for the Profane Hydra, more the lethality route. Let's hold that for a second, because this is how the fight actually began.
Yeah, so a little bit of a trading here. You can see River really wants to get this wave in, and there it is, Skimmy. So crucially, it's the double R and doesn't actually damage Wudon anywhere near enough. So he feels very comfortable the second that shield from the W expires to go in, use his full combo there and take down that kill. So just a really nice kind of acknowledgement there of his strong window from Wudon. And once again, a little bit of trading now. This double longsword plus Doran's Blade Riven has so much damage in the kit, and crucially, Skimmy, there is no flash available for this Udyr, right? So anytime he gets forced away and takes a trade like that in this long lane, he will just have to go back to base, because there's always that threat of the Riven pouncing on him and securing another solo kill.
Which is terrifying. And I suppose to that discussion, right, in terms of just how aggressive Wudon's been, would you like to see him go the sort of the greedy route and go for the CDR boots, or much more towards like the tenacity or the play the steel caps?
Nah, if you're a true Riven main, you absolutely go Lucidity boots. Regardless of the game, you just slam it. It has so much value, especially because he's playing combat sums as well, right? Having those Ignite and Flash up available whenever is available will be the deciding factor as to how much impact you can have in team fights. It's a little bit of a skirmish here, but River's all the way down.
He is. Memphis held a scatter of the week for such a long time, and it actually means that Lisa falls on down. It's a bit of a weird situation to find themselves in. Direwolves, with priority to make sure this will go their way, have lost their jungler in the process.
Very awkward situation. Rivers ran all the way from base here, gives up so much top lane. You can see there's now a 2-level difference between these top laners, and Wudon will be able to get a freest base of his life here, crushing the wave. But like you said, it's just a collapse onto Lisa. This Vi to Leah combo, even before the ults coming out, have so much damage to be able to lock down that single target. And ultimately, it will be Lisa who falls down here. So 6 minutes in, already a 1k gold lead opened up for the side of KNG.
Perfect start once again for KNG, right? Really picking up from where they left off. Poor longswords there for Wudon. It was absolutely crazy as they tab back over into the mid lane. And look at the all-in taking place here between two. As Lisa rocks up to the lane, says, I'm not level 6, I don't have execute range, there's no point pursuing this further.
Refury as well, looking for something a bit cheeky here. Might head up towards the top lane. Keep in mind, he does have that Weaver's Wall available, and like I said earlier, there's no flash, so any sealed ultimate could be the death of River. But ultimately, the TP will come out as Wudon's looking active.
He's on for it again. Ignite being popped. Flash committed as well. But he looks to try and take down River for the second time in a row. Alt stun, dash, deletes. And 2 solo kills. And I tell you what, his stats probably by the end of this week are looking like he wants to be #1 in the league.
There's that flash skimmy. It simply is just too much damage, and there's no way for River to escape. Because of the wave positioning, he has to walk up if he wants to get it in. But like we mentioned earlier, those 4 longswords, just so much damage. And with the ult, with the ignite, all that to come through, this Riven is now a real threat.
An absolute menace. Going to rock up to these team fights and really do a lot of damage. Too much there for Shinka to try and cleanse or heal their way out of, rather. It's going to be an uphill battle, to say the least. There's all they can really try and salvage. Try and make the early game look at least somewhat positive for them would be the fact that their bot lane is ahead, that mid lane for Emphis is finding a small lead, and they did manage to get the very first dragon. KNG, however, knowing that top lane really does belong to them, has allowed Invictus to pick up all 3 Void Grubs, and with the priority going the way of Refury, I feel like he can look to try and really balance the books now by saying, I can pop top lane, or I can look to try and really help up my center and Tom.
He absolutely can, especially with that level 6 coming online. This Vi is now a real threat in any lane that he walks into, and I think especially around this mid lane with how aggressive Refury has been playing ever since this series really started, that will be the point of focus for this next ultimate. Because right now, this Udi is so far behind, you don't even need to go towards this top lane. Wudon will just naturally win because of how far ahead he is in Golden XP. So I would be expecting KNG to link their mid jungle up somehow, whether that's in the lane itself or heading down towards this bot lane, because we saw last game what happens when KNG's bot lane is able to get ahead, when they're able to press the advantage. It is bad news for the Direwolves.
Certainly is, and it's a bad start that they'll be hoping to try and rectify once the mid-game comes around. And whilst we can talk about the squishy nature of some of the champions that KNG have, and the ideal response being that River will get time to get 2 items online, that he can then be a bit of a threat in those side lanes to really try and distract Wudon to respond to him, almost use his own medicine against him, if you will. It's still a world away before that potential does, in fact, get realised. And you're starting to really hope that the likes of Ketsuru and Emphis can hit a big breakpoint, like an item advantage over their opposition and say, all right, we're strong enough. Let's entertain the idea of a 3v3 or an initial skirmish around one of these major objectives. Let's try and draw Wudon down and really afford Udio a bit of time.
Katsuri is certainly a player who is not wanting to shy away from any of those aggressive situations like you mentioned. Zefalios already, so much damage as Wudon. You can see already River, yes, he's so far behind, but even just with that Warden's Mail, able to negate so much of the damage that is coming out from this Riven. And mid lane, here goes Invictus.
He certainly is. It's easy for him to jump on in, lock him on down. Emphis can shove back 1 with a kill, but he can't take down 2. Knocked to the head and taken down for a swift kill in the end. And it opens up one of the avenues that Emphis was really hoping to achieve, right? Get ahead in the lane and try and pay it off afterwards, but a gank that really targets him down.
Simple as that. Vi level 6 comes through, and so does the mid lane gank. Emphis luckily does manage to hold on to his flash here, so won't be as vulnerable to a repeat gank with anything like the Weaver's Wall coming through and completely sealing him off. So it will be that kill going in favor of KNG. All 4 this game now going their way. And these solo lanes. We saw last game what the impact was is Wudon wants a kill.
He wants it every single time that ignites up and available. He just gets it done underneath your tower. You're not even safe. River hoping that the tower would be his helping hand. It's just not to be. 3-0 now is the Riven. And back to the bot lane we look again. As double summoners had to be committed there by Katsuri.
KNG, once again, correct on this time, KNG, playing it almost like it's a Nautilus with the frequency that he's looking for engages. But this top lane is now such a problem. You can see Ravenous Hydra completed for Wudon, so kind of a bit of a blend here between that full lethality one-shot hybrid style and the more caster bruiser build. But it's the CS lead, it's the gold, really that's the main issue here. You can see now level 8 on River, level 9 on Wudon as we take a look at the gold. No surprises whatsoever there. 1,700 gold, the difference between these two top laners at only 11 minutes into this game.
Yeah, it's pretty rough when you see that River's all the way down there by the supports. Only 100 gold ahead of them. It's not a pretty position to be in, but it certainly is telling. When he does go for these trades, it still looks like he's strong enough that you're thinking, well, Udia's kit at the end of the day is still a bit of a menace, but I like the Revenant's Hydra. It's a bit of tech, I suppose, in this regard that allows him the wave clear, if nothing more, right, to try and match.
It's the wave clear and the sustain that's really important, right? Because that is one of the issues with this matchup. I kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier. In the sense that Riven just gets outpaced in terms of the healing that is able to come through. But right now, with all of the gold that Wudon has, he's able to go towards that Ravenous Hydra and make sure that won't be a possibility. But here goes Invictus.
Ult is on, and Lisa instantly flashing away to safety, but is he safe? Or is he actually baited in Invictus? He certainly has, surrounded by 4 and taken down. River says it's my time to shine. Top lane sucks. It's time to group up with the boys and try and find success elsewhere. They'll hunt down the Talia. They won't find it. He'll get flicked back, and he might just hand over another one. There is the Dawning Shadow from bot lane, but it wasn't lethal. As in the end, they'll say, let's go for this dragon. I'm losing that top tower. We need to get something.
That time, Invictus gets trigger happy, but unfortunately goes a little bit too far. Direwolves ready with the collapse and will claim their second dragon as a prize as well. You can see to the top lane, all going in the favor of KNG, but River so desperately wanting to make plays happen on the other side of the map. He acknowledges that he is out of this game, but his teammates can still be in it.
So he can. He's trying his hardest, but it might not be enough here as we look to run it back with this clip again. Initially, it's Invictus thinking he's got the pick, but then jumps in and spotted by multiple.
It's a really nice flash there from Lisa, right? Once that buy is stuck to him, he takes him back into the rest of the team here, and you can see the TP's committed from River as well. Unfortunately, this Udyr is nowhere near as strong as you'd like him to be. Almost falls down here. It's only through Shinky that he's able to actually escape. But once again, KNG using this topside control. The tower's fallen and all 6 Void Grubs going in favor of KNG.
Which is terrifying, given the tendencies that Wooden's had to try and play his own game. If he is going to be split pushing, because River feels a necessity that I'm too weak to contest you 1v1, I need to group up. Wooden could absolutely just shove these towers down, and who responds to it? You don't want to send Katsuri there, you certainly don't want to send Lisa or Emphis there. It almost feels like this is Riven's playground.
I mean, you can see just the fact that this topside jungle is being completely eaten by the side of KNG, that really wherever Wudon goes, they have to respect from the direwolves. No one can actually face this Riven right now, especially with double summoners and ultimate available. He is just a walking one-shot waiting to happen. And with his Herald spawning in 10 seconds, you'd have to imagine that's where they're turning their sights here. Bot lane has been flipped to mid, so they're keeping Ryu through with that teleport available down towards that bot lane, and he'll just happily clear these waves while his team secures that Herald.
And it's really well, as you see, it is a complete difference in terms of what both teams are hunting for. When it comes to those objectives, right, as you say before, already 6 stacks for the Void Grubs for KNG. Direwolves, though, working their way towards that potential Dragon Soul. Easy said than done, though, because whilst they do have some good pressure in the bot lane now to try and siege and maybe answer back with a tower of their own, KNG always have this first move, and it's making it very difficult then for Direwolves to try and, claw back this 4k deficit.
And look at River, he can't even stand in the top lane by himself. He's that scared of Wudon. So he's forced to roam towards mid here and catch waves that way. But that just enables all of this topside vision for KNG to come through, right? You can see Wudon is free to move wherever he wants around the map. Outside, however, a different story. Katsuri, red-white, get a machine gun down this turret and get some much-needed gold into his and the rest of the Direwolves' pockets.
Not enough just yet, though, for the objective bounty as 15 minutes finally approaches us, but it does allow KNG to really continue to still do as they like. So much so that Woodon is actually able to pick up that Herald with nobody in sight as the rest of his team then look to try and protect this bot lane from Direwolves, fighting much more than just that single turret. You can see that both teams are keen. They're hunting for potential opportunities, but it have been very non-committal. If anything else, it seems almost like a case of trying to bait out flashes.
And speaking of flashes, you can see Katsuri's about to come back online, so there's a Valios going to feel a lot more comfortable playing as aggressively as he is right now. You can see shepherding him around is Shinky, really wanting to make sure that he's able to play with the reckless abandon that he has been known to pull out in previous games. But River is pretty far up here. I wonder if Woodon wants to try something. We'll just be content with catching the wave. Now, keep in mind, yes, Woodon was the one who really took down that Herald, but Invictus is the one who picks it up. So he will be able to summon that wherever he chooses, really enabling Woodon to stay in this side lane, continue to be a menace, and really continue to play his own game.
Yeah, which is huge, huge uphill play, right, in terms of giving you that freedom to really rotate and roam and, plant that wherever you like to try and get yourself that strong advantage. Right now, it seems like mid lane is the point of focus, and why wouldn't it be? Because that dragon is about to spawn in under 60 seconds. So it means that both teams will be trying to guarantee that goes their way. As for Kanga, be a great way to disrupt things and certainly allow Woodon to then be a participant, right? He's got such a massive lead. He's reset, faced, and found himself a chance to group up and move the rest of the team and showcase we've got all our summoners. It's time to fight.
You can see he's coming down now. We'll spot Lisa here. But crucially, without the teleport, he does actually have to move without committing to his side lane. As we can see, Kanga investing their resources towards this bot lane, enabling Rhea Fury to hit this turret. And no one is really answering at this point. So, 4-man siege in the mid lane. There is a TP available for River if he wants to use it. But like you said, Skimmy, this dragon would be the third one for Direwolves, a huge one to really swing the game in their favor and hopefully get them online. But this is a TP coming out from Talia away from the fight.
Yeah, completely away from the dragon. Really saying we don't want to do a 1-for-1 trade on those towers. We'd much rather hand across that dragon. We're not too concerned by it. River's actually going to commit the TP as the fight is looking to try and start here. See Direwolves just poking and prodding and really forcing Kanga back. And ultimately they said, well, we've already burnt the TP. Yes, Rhea Fury's incredibly quick as this Talia, but we're showing no signs of interest. We'll just summon the Herald.
Yeah, they've got their Herald. It's going to be Kurak who is the pilot here, but Kanga really willing to sacrifice this. They're going to take down the first turret without even needing the charge, which means they're able to use it for that second tower. And Skimmy, look at the push here. The Herald's going to even survive for one more.
This is incredible value here from Kanga. Completely out macroed. They're going to get 2 charges and essentially 3 towers and mids. It's brutal. Let's see what they do as a response, though, as the dragon has been picked up, and it's River caught out of position as the rest of his team have reset from base, running him down. River's surrounded by 5. Yes, we know Invictus did it, but you can't.
He's tanky, but he's not that tanky. River trying to cut the wave there on the back end of that play, ensure that there's no way for Kanga to continue their push. But ultimately, he just falls down. And yes, it is a soul point for the Direwolves, but the gold is so overwhelmingly in favor of Kanga right now, thanks to those 2 towers that they just picked up. They have to be feeling pretty good about their spot right now, especially with the value that they were able to get from those 2 charges.
Yeah, so crazy. I mean, I've never seen a Herald find that much value, and obviously with those 6 Void Grubs as well, they could have quite honestly just egoed the opposition and said, yeah, we're going to take your inhibitor, there's nothing you can really do about it, because they got such a huge lead in this game. But can they find a lead by getting another kill? They've only got 1 so far, and instantly that gets extinguished, and Ultimate all the way from mid lane picks it up for Styx.
Overconfidence there from Memphis. He thinks that with his team around him, he's able to find that kill, but it looked like he got Seismic shoved at the second he took turret aggro. So being thrown into a Talia Vi is not where you want to be as a Syndra. And that'll put a temporary halt to this top push, right? We can see that Direwolves really want to move Katsuri around. He is kind of the king that they're all trying to play to protect. But ultimately, he ends up falling down, and so might Lisa.
Yep, Lisa, 2-level deficit. He burns the ult and the flash, but gets pounced upon anyway. It is just that trading of summoners. And Woodon says, I really will push the lead. I've got the strength, and I'm not afraid to use it.
It feels very reminiscent of last game, Skimmy. The fact that the Direwolves can't even walk into their own jungle because here are the solo laners from Kanga just going to straight one-shot them. And now there is a window in topside. Invictus might have found Emphis.
And he has, surrounded by all 3 angles. He flashes the safety underneath that tower. Good stopwatch, but I feel like it's a delaying the inevitable. He's going to try and run away from this one, but Invictus in his face. No, it's not enough. In comes the support. Shinky protects him. with the flash heal and ultimate. So much is the price to be paid to protect their team.
Yeah, Shinky once again saves the day, but like you said, there's just so much that needs to be expended. Shinky using everything that he has to enable Emphis to get out of there, as well as that Seeker's Arm Guard, which Syndra had purchased. So not a kill found there onto Syndra, but certainly you're very happy with that trade, as they're working towards an 8,000 gold lead from the side of Kanga. This Riven, basically unmatchable in the side lanes. River is basically relegated to just sitting there and catching waves. As we take another look at the gold graph at Skimmy, that's a 4,500 gold lead in top lane.
It doesn't get better when you check in with that one. You look at the overall gold and say, okay, they're up by 7,000, but it really is the wood on show. As much as we say he doesn't want to group up with his team, maybe this is the occasion where you do want to group up, but quite honestly, just sit in the side lanes and win all day on your own, because you're going into a support Udyr. We've had all three variations now. And just even looking at the scoreboard, it feels like a battle between, can Katsuri scale up quick enough? He's got so much CS, but can you actually deal with this Riven?
The good thing is that they have bought themselves a lot of time with this dragon stacking, right? It does enable them to have some successful trades later on as these start to spawn, and Kanga feel pressured to go and answer to deny that soul point. But really the big question is how do you deny an eventual Baron play from the side of Kanga, because they're denying this vision, laying in wait, just begging someone from Direwolves to come and face check this objective.
They basically are saying we're already so strong. Baron is not necessarily on spawn, but close enough that we don't really feel that Direwolves would be even want to consider this. They started up, instantly say, you know what, back to the bush. It's time to huddle up. We see them on vision. Oh, but Curex just been spotted there. And now they know that there's some funny business happening around this part of the map. Is everybody grouping up as 5, even TP's burnt.
Yeah, they get the TP, and that's really the kind of get-off signal for Kanga. They realize that Udyr in this side lane won't be able to match Riven anywhere near as effectively if he doesn't have that TP to join the fight, so they'll take that as an absolute win. But off the back of that, Direwolves actually the ones with the inside track on this top lane, looking to push up. Katsuri does have the white and green gun, so he absolutely machine guns this turret. And it really is all about this Aphelios. 0-0-0, about 10 CS per minute, and now with the gold from some turrets as well, certainly getting to a point where he can do some decent damage if he's allowed the uptime.
He needs the uptime, but it seems to be easier said than done at this point, right? All it will take was a Vi ultimate and a flanking River just to extinguish the dreams of all Direwolf fans out there. Never say never. We talk about the odds of some of these teams looking to try and make it into the playoffs. There's a lot of games for Direwolf still to make way through. Infinity Edge coming online, a second item spike. Certainly feels good. But Kanga will delay that soul point. Kind of expected given the game state. But as you already mentioned, it certainly has bought them a fair bit of time.
Nice little pick up there from Kanga, denying the soul point. He never really was in doubt, as River is very far up in this lane here.
Really be aggressive, goes CC immune for the meantime, but once that wears off, so does his chance to try and survive in this one. Ultimate from 2 different degrees as they make sure that he is dead for rights again. Now Woodon really is unstoppable. Was there ever even a contest? He's 5-0-1. What did you say before? Up by 4,500 gold? He's really not going to try and put a shoe in here to be the MVP.
Yeah, and really River just getting greedy on that side wave there. Acknowledges that he does have the double E, but there's still so much CC, so much mobility to come through from this Vi and Riven pairing that you are not even safe if you do so. So falls down once again, down 100 CS to Woodon in this matchup. And really, you talked about it before, Skimmy, about being beaten by your one trick. This isn't just being beaten, it is being demolished.
Demolished and embarrassed with a flame horizon. I feel like we've not seen one of those in such a long time, the 100 CS difference. But this really is a demonstration of if you win lane hard enough, then you can absolutely crush the game as a result. Let's see then what happens as the Weaver Wall comes at the play. Oh! It's absolutely ruined the life there of Katsuri as he burns Flash and Ghost. These out. But once again, all these summoners having to be expended. It makes it so difficult for them to contest the likes of a Baron. That's exactly what Kanga are threatening. They know these side lanes, they can take them whenever they like. They just want to bait Direwolves into a full ace.
Bait the Baron, turn off. It's really rinse and repeat here for Kanga. They know that eventually someone from the Direwolves is going to have to come and face check. And now with all these summoners down, like you mentioned, it becomes such a scary prospect. Kanga, all they have to do is continue denying this vision, wait until someone missteps, and they can pounce. And now with no flash on the Aphelios, it becomes so much harder to actually do so. As you can see, the situation's so tense. The vision overwhelmingly in favor of KNG as Wudon has found River here. I'm not sure if he's able to get the kill, but Invictus is over the wall.
He's over the wall. He's deciding, do I need to burn this flash or not? The comms clearly from Wudon that I've got him. There's no need for that one. And ultimately, he was right. 6-0-1 now. It's just such an uphill battle at this point. It feels like an understatement, you know. It's no vision, no summoners, no damage, no time. Because KNG want to wrap this up.
Wrap it up is absolutely the thing on their minds here. You can see Lisa going to have to go in completely blind if he wants to steal it, but it's not anywhere close enough. It will be the Baron going over to KNG, who now sit just shy of a 10,000 gold lead. And with how dominant these side lanes have already been, this Baron buff will only make matters even worse.
It's a tough one to call here, Max. It really is in terms of the game state. It's not really been Direwolf's night. They've come in with a bit of a game plan here. Outdrafted, you'd say, in game one. Outplayed in game two. And no doubt for River, the champion he debuted on to showcase what he was all about, has come back to haunt him in more ways than one. As we see a free item, soon 3.5, quite frankly, 3.5 item Riven at 26 minutes in. I'd love to see the damage breakdown at the end of this game here as Direwolves are looking to try and fight for their last breath and say, okay, where do we make our stance? Because these inhibitors are next on the chopping block, but Lisa wants to go in. He's a squishy Riven, or rather a squishy Diego, I should say, but it's not going to turn for the meantime. As the Shadow comes on out, the shield, the damage is enough, but they still pursue it. Invictus turns around, locks up Lisa, denies him his reset, the ultimate hits thin air. The Weaver's Wall cuts off the retreat, and the burrow in there from Kurek to make sure that there's more to find as a result. They've taken down the top two. Wooden wasn't even there. Of course he's not. He's too strong on his own. He really is that one-man army. And I'm waiting for the flash W. Surely it's there. He sees it! Oh. What a fantastic scatter of the week. It reads the situation well.
It might not be enough though, Skimmy. Yes, they managed to deny that death there from Wudon, but it looks like KNG are unrelenting. They've got the waves, they've got the Baron onto these minions as well, as one Nexus turret falls and the second's in their sights.
And it certainly is, Max. It is a game dead for rights. Not really a contest in this one. 12-1 is the scoreline. KNG ultimately far too good on the night.
Not even close at any point there from KNG. Just complete